She seems to be starting with Melanie Mack because of her Christian values that ignited her first angry tweet at Mel in 2023. There's this war that's happening between gamers and game devs and journalists. I've had to explain this to several people who are not in the space. They don't quite understand what's going on. And it really comes down to just like people who want to play games versus people who are writing and developing games. They think they know better than the people who want to play the games. But we had an issue that has dropped right on our doorstep on Friday, as one of our hosts, I mentioned Melanie Mack, was being targeted by our old friend at Kotaku, Alyssa Mercante. Let's go back to Grums over on X, as Kotaku editor Alyssa Mercante has a weird grudge against Melanie Mack and wants to fight her. And now she's convinced Kotaku to let her write a hit piece on Melanie, calling out to anyone with rumors for ammo. This is not journalism. It's anger and a power play. And I actually can't see what Alyssa Mercante says on X because I am blocked, unfortunately.
I'm blocked too.
And so is Side Scrollers. But here's her tweet. Melanie saying this she said Kotaku was gay. And this is from November. And she responded with saying, once again, asking Melanie to join me at Creator Clash next year. So she literally wants to beat up Melanie. So good for her. So we continue down with this. Kotaku's editor-in-chief resigned, leaving a power vacuum at the top. Alyssa and Carolyn Pettit are the only editors left and will be in line for the next EIC promotion, which, by the way, I am throwing my hat into the hat for the Kotaku editor-in-chief position. I would love to be that, and I would clean house so quick. It'd be great. It'd be awesome. Alyssa has convinced Geo Media to let her continue to write quote-unquote news while Kotaku pivots to gaming guides. She cites how her prior hit piece on Cabrutus was the second highest traffic article on Kotaku. She likely leveraged this to get Geo Media to agree. Now, that has changed since Friday, which was on Friday after going into our show on Friday, it was Kotaku is getting rid of news. They're going into guides. And apparently, a couple of the Kotaku writers, because there are only a couple Kotaku writers left, they have gone in and they fought with Geo Media, and Geo Media gave them a little bit of a leash. So they're going to continue news for the time being, but I guarantee that they allowed them to continue the news with the caveat that they have to perform and they have to see a dramatic uptick in page views.
They were like, oh, thank God we don't have to work now.
Yeah, right.
Because that's what that 50 guides a week would have been, work.
Right.
So I like that tweet you put out. You said, I could do that too. And you went into Chat GPT and it made you the booze staircase thing.
Right. It's extremely easy to do. Very easy. But if we continue down here, and once again, Grums does a phenomenal job of getting all of the news and consolidating it in nice little bite-sized elements for us to talk about. So thanks, Grums, by the way. Really appreciate it. I'd also like to point out that Grums, while doing this, is also developing in his own game, which is pretty crazy.
He needs to talk about it more.
I agree. I do. I definitely agree. I think he should certainly do that. But let's continue down with this thread. It says Alyssa fights over the scraps of Kotaku. She's been very busy drumming up PR for herself, yet she does not want to come on this show. She refuses to come on the show. She's out doing media, but she refuses to come on Side Scrollers. It says a combination of nerd baiting tweets and a culture interview with the CBC Canadian Broadcasting Corp and Nerds of Culture is an obvious attempt to curry visibility. It is failing. This is true. Now Alyssa has seemingly gotten Kotaku approval for not just one hit piece, but a slew of them targeting prominent gaming personalities or YouTubers. Which, once again, you're looking for clicks. Here it is. There it is right there. If she can get enough traffic, she might be able to save her job and get the EIC position at rapidly fading Kotaku. She seems to be starting with Melanie Mack because of her Christian values that ignited her first angry tweet at Mel in 2023. So here is the Alyssa Mercante tweet. It says, there's a story that I've been simmering that I really want to pick back up on. If anyone has any connections to a prominent female Twitch streamer / gamer personality who leans very hard into Christianity and homophobia, DM me or email me at link in the bio. Also, if you personally know any decently popular gaming personalities and streams that have seen a meteoric rise in popularity shortly after adopting more reactionary views, DM/email me. Oh, there we are. So that's where we're at right now with Alyssa. Now, Melanie has responded to this. She responded to her saying, well, I should probably pull that tweet up, which I did not do a good enough job on. But we'll continue with this thread as I do that. Blabs, if you wouldn't mind. Oh, here we go. We got it right here. Thanks, Grums. Grums continues with this thread. Says at this point, Melissa and Alyssa appear to be emailed and presumably giving comments. I suggest, and Grum says, I suggest Melanie refrain from giving Alyssa any airtime. Anything she says is going to be cherry picked, reframed, and twisted to serve the obvious slanted story Alyssa is preparing to write. So here it is right here. Melanie responds, says, you could have just talked to me if you want, but it looks like you'd rather find people who don't like me to help you formulate your hate and lies to fit your narrative you inevitably made up in your head and in your witch hunt. Alyssa responded with, hi, Melanie. I would love a chance to talk to you. My email's in my bio, and if you want to reach out, I plan on sending one early next week. But as it's end of the day, right? It's like, oh, I was planning on doing this next week, by the way. I just wanted, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But I'd rather call out to other people.
The funny thing about this is that Melanie actually has her email address in her bio. So Alyssa has all the opportunity to go and email her first. And then she's like, oh, look, here's my email. You have to reach out to me when I'm writing a hit piece about you. I just want to point that out. Like Melanie's email is right there for you to see. Just right, lazy, shitty journalism.
And on top of that, generally, and I talked about this yesterday on the Valiant Renegade show. I was on that for a little bit, and those guys were really nice. They were asking me about all this. As a journalist, generally you do your work behind the scenes, and you don't play your hand. Alyssa has handled this horribly, and Melanie has handled this flawlessly. She's really the whole idea behind this. And I'd like to continue this really quick. Melanie responded, says, judging by your tweet and tagging and lack of tagging me in it, your intentions appear to be in bad faith, but I sent the email, happy to chat. Thanks, I replied.